I was signing the final papers for my latest venture when my phone lit up with her name. Mom. 6 years of silence had passed, and her voice trembled as if she was holding back a secret that might bite. "Let's have a family talk," she said. The same woman who skipped the day I vowed to start a new life. The same woman who told relatives she was busy that weekend. I drew a slow breath. I could feel the weight of all I'd built pressing against the bones of the person I used to be. "Fine," I said. "Let's talk." I used to believe our family was close. Not warm, exactly, but structured, predictable. They had expectations. I had achievements. It was a steady exchange. They raised me to be disciplined, polished, obedient. I delivered. And when I met my partner, the one who made me feel seen and steady, I thought they'd finally be proud. I remember early evenings, soft kitchen lights, my mother's rare smile as she asked polite questions about wedding plans she never meant to attend. I mistook her curiosity for love. That was my first mistake. It began subtly. A pause when I mentioned the venue. A sigh when I showed her my suit. Then came the comments, "Are you sure you're ready? Marriage is a big commitment. Maybe you shouldn't rush." It didn't feel like concern, it felt like sabotage dressed as parental care. A week before the wedding, Dad stopped answering. Mom couldn't confirm travel plans. I still remember standing in that bright, echoing ceremony hall, scanning the entryway for 2 familiar silhouettes that never appeared. The officiant asked if I was ready. I nodded, my voice steady, but inside, something shut like a vault. By the time we cut the cake, I already knew, whatever family I'd had with them was dead. I didn't confront them. I didn't plead. I didn't even call to ask why. Instead, I took stock of what I truly had: a new marriage, a business idea I'd been too cautious to pursue, and an empty emotional ledger begging to be rewritten. So, I rewired myself. Every insult they'd disguised as advice became fuel. Every withheld compliment became ammunition. Every time they called me too ambitious, too sensitive, or too much, I turned it into blueprints. Their absence became my clarity. I built quietly, deliberately. No announcements, no social media, no invitations. I shed the old obligations, the emotional debts, the subtle manipulations. I redirected my energy into work that truly nourished me. 1 year later, my first company launched. Another year, my second. By year 4, I stepped onto a stage to accept an award I had once dreamed of telling them about. They never heard a word. I never reached out, but I knew people talk. My name would reach them eventually, and it did. Mom chose a mid-range restaurant, neutral ground. I arrived on time. They were already seated, both looking older than I remembered, regret tightening quietly around their features. Mom's smile was fragile. Dad's eyes flickered with something dangerously close to hope. "We've missed you," Mom said. Rehearsed, too polished. I kept my hands steady, heartbeat measured. Dad cleared his throat. "We heard about your success." Recognition, not remorse. Not apology. They hadn't missed me, they'd missed proximity to what I'd become. Mom leaned forward. "We thought maybe we could start fresh." I studied her like an investor evaluating a pitch that came too late. "You skipped my wedding," I said calmly. No anger, just the truth laid out like evidence. Mom flinched. Dad looked down. "I know," she whispered. "We made a mistake." I shook my head. "No. You made a choice." Silence fell, heavy and bruising. Mom blinked back tears. "Can we be a family again?" My laugh was soft, almost kind, but not quite. "You're asking for access to a version of me you never helped build." "We're still your parents biologically," Dad said. I replied, "Not functionally." They had no counter. I stood, placing the signed copy of a scholarship fund I'd created, named after someone who had truly supported me, on the table. "This is what family looks like to me now," I said. Support. Consistency. Presence. I let them read the header, their faces tightening as they realized they weren't mentioned anywhere. "This," I added, "is the talk you asked for." Then I walked away. When the door closed behind me, there was no triumph, just clarity. I didn't need revenge that burned. This was revenge that illuminated. They got exactly what they gave me: distance, silence, and a front row seat to everything I built without them. I stepped into the sunlight, lighter than I had been in years. Not because they wanted me back, but because I no longer needed them to.